Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of History and Gaming, Alexandria. And today I'm walking you through the National Museum of the United States Army, located in Fort Belvoir, which is a fantastic museum in Virginia, in Northern Virginia, that's free to the public. And we're taking a look at specifically their American Revolutionary War exhibit called Call to Arms: The Soldier and the Revolutionary War, which is, as you can see, full of fantastic displays, weaponry, muskets, powder horns, a very interesting collection of powder horns, and uniforms, headgear, and various other artifacts from the American Revolution, which makes this exhibit not just interesting from a historical point of view, but a real treasure trove for the wargamer. And as I think you'll agree, it's also a fantastic treasure trove for the miniature figure painter. I mean, take a look at these uniforms from the not just the traditional um, English um, and English mercenary uniforms, but also the Native American troops. There's a fantastic display of an African American, freed slave from Rhode Island with very white uniform with a sort of a Saratoga style shako of sorts with the Rhode Island anchor on it, and I'm blown away by that mannequin and that figure. I mean, what a fantastic unit to paint and portray, against the backdrop of, of a struggle for freedom and a very personal struggle for freedom and liberation, from the point of view of former slaves and their unique regiment from Rhode Island. I mean, that's just a fantastic story in itself. And it's the everything in the exhibit is very evocative of the period. There are a few live action documentaries with projections onto maps that my son enjoyed in particular, both of the Siege of Yorktown and the Battle of Bunker Hill. So, it's a large set piece European style battle. Um, in the former case and in the latter, Bunker Hill, and the opening engagement of the war, and what better action to start with as you walk into the exhibit, and that's flanked, of course, by the powder horn display and some other artifacts from key American personalities from the Battle of Bunker Hill. And it's really just an extraordinary exhibit. I hope that you all enjoy this tour for those of you who can't make it to the Northern Virginia area or haven't had a chance to check it out. Um, if you can, I certainly recommend it, but there's a great deal of food for thought in this exhibit in terms of uniforms and painting and also the battles themselves. And I'll get to that in more detail and show you some of the interactive historical maps and campaign overviews that allow you to drill down into specific campaigns, whether it's the Northern Campaign, Saratoga, and Bennington, to the Southern Theater, Francis Marion and the Swamp Fox, Cowpens, Guilford Courthouse, and so on. And here you can see the screens that they have up where you can drill down on specific battles within campaigns, depending on the area of the country of the colonies that we're talking about. And I'm looking at the Battle of Monmouth, near and dear to my heart because I grew up right next to Monmouth Battlefield State Park in New Jersey. It took place in 1778 in June in New Jersey. Very interesting battle. And next, also in 1778, in the Southern Theater, we have the Siege of Pensacola, involving the Spanish Empire forces and the forces of Great Britain, including their German allies. And Native American forces as well. And here you could see how you could drill down and look at specific personalities, such as the Spanish commander Bernardo de Galvez, and um, and really drill down into perhaps lesser known or lesser explored aspects of the American Revolutionary War. And here you have, contrary to the skirmishes and the smaller scale battles that you associate with the American Revolution, here you have a set piece European style battle and siege involving Spain and Great Britain. and Siege of Pensacola, interesting in and of itself. Great idea for uh, potentially a war game or some skirmishes around it involving some of the British Native American allies against the Spanish. I think the French fleet was also involved there as well. So American Revolution is this interesting conflict in some ways where you have the sort of well-known cliched type battles and skirmishes involving the British and the American colonists, but you also have, European armies involved. So you have the French, for instance, and we have some clips of French uniforms in the exhibit as well. The French involved in Yorktown principally, but also, in other aspects of the war, the Spanish Empire in Florida. Taking on the British and their Native American allies in that part of the country. So you do have a lot of diverse actions that lend themselves to different rule sets, whether it's sharp practice and skirmish rule sets, which are great for the American War of Independence, and or larger actions, whether you might be using black powder for that or something more specific to the period. There are a lot of rules out there that you could explore. But hopefully, this exhibit is inspiring to you, particularly for anybody who's not from the Northern Virginia area or from the United States for that matter. And anyone who has thoughts on the African American Regiment from Rhode Island and how to source figures to portray them and paint them up in 28 millimeter in particular, or ideas about kit bashing them from multiple sources, I'd be interested to hear about it. I'd like to paint that unit, and whether it's using some of the Perry range with Saratoga caps, their their British figures, or whatever comes to mind. I would be interested to hear your thoughts on how you would portray that unit and what figures you would use if you wanted to do so. 3D printed figures as well. Any suggestions? Please leave a comment on that. I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts. And finally, on the exhibit itself, it's a great opportunity to see the historical items live and in person, and really get a deeper perspective on the conflict. I hope everyone really enjoys this video. I enjoyed visiting the museum and the exhibit. My son certainly enjoyed it as well, and we had a great time. And I hope that everyone has a great week. If you like what you see, as always, please like and subscribe. And I hope to bring you some fun content again in the near future. Have a great week, everybody.